I do want to say a very good evening. Each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. President Trump, the first question is for you. Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus?
So we closed up the greatest economy in the world that came from China, and it's now gone. In other places, they will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. The military is going to distribute the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I'm immune. More and more people are a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks all over the world, distributing them all over the world.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
America is dead. Hear this. Anyone who's responsible for taking control should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where deaths a day now. Compared to Americans dead between now and the end of the year, no plan. We move in the direction of rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses. I will end this. I will make sure.
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well. And we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Get vaccinated. The country will be wearing masks into 2022.
I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular. He's ready to go. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
They would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government.
See it, know it, look at it. And by the way, don't worry, we're about to go into a dark winter, a dark winter. There's going to be a vaccine for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
China was in January, and it was a total disaster. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he shut down access from China. 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan. If China's being transparent, we owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. Don't worry. It's all going to be over soon. Come on.
We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace. I'd love to put myself in the basement and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
People are learning to die with it. Come on. We're dying with it. Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now?
It's not my fault that it came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that it came here either.
The fact is that we knew it was coming. When it hit, what happened? Don't worry. It's going to go away. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. We are in control.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I shouldn't have closed. Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco. He says I should have closed it earlier. Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You certainly did. You certainly
I did. Chinese coming to the United States.
All right. Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President Biden? The higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse.
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the country. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in his golf course, he should have been negotiating for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the nation, but there are, look, slow up, more social distancing. Do not open until you get this under control, under more control. For example, schools, they need to deal with smaller classes, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him. You look at what's going on in California, you look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina, they're shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're dying. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools.
Sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families.
I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know, I've said it often, the cure cannot be worse than the problem itself.
Vice President Biden, your
Simply
response.
not true. You need to be able to have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly. You need to be able to trace. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. So don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't. Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Wear these masks, number one, and nothing's happened.
Take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They've been closed, and they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. Don't wear masks. This is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all.
This was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. Panic. He panicked. But guess what? In the meantime, we find out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, this is a really dangerous thing. Sell short because we got to get moving.
A lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much more money. As president and as somebody that knows most of those people, I would blow away every record. We beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able to.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Don't tell me about Wall Street.
Average contribution, $43.
All right.